So as fate would have it, my phone ran out of storage space on my SD card halfway through my video and I didn't notice, so I was sitting here talking to thin air. That goes without saying that it's a normal thing for me, having an older device, not having a good camera, but I digress. This is part two of a video that I started and got about 8 minutes in before it crapped out, and so I'm going to upload that as part one, and that will lead me into this part of the video. As I was saying before I rudely got cut off by my technology, or lack thereof, my aptitude is limited. I didn't grow up in the same environment as the youngsters of today. I have two kids, I have teenagers, so yeah, I know what kids are like these days. And let's just say that, it's a different environment than we had. We didn't get harassed online, or have invisible trolls, uh, constantly bombarding us with negativity. But it was more like you step up to the plate, somebody messes with you, you go up and you make your point known. you know if you got to duke it out, you duke it out. But these were the face-to-face confrontations that we had in the past. And I'm not here to reminisce and say, oh, the good old days where people weren't staring down at their phones. But god damn it, that really is the reality that we're living in now. It's unfortunate, and I know that every generation, every new and upcoming group of young people thinks that they have the best way, and all the older folks always say, well, back in my day, back in my day. And it was, it's always been a bit ridiculous, because progress has really helped us in many ways. The improvement of healthcare, the ability for us to have a better chance at living a life where we're not going to starve or die at 25. It's or in childbirth. All these things, all these amazing advancements that we have. But there was a point where I think we kind of reached peak technology, where I feel like everything that we're advancing now isn't going to benefit the average person. And so there's part of me that's very raw about it, that says, I don't know, I want to have a positive outlook on the future, but humans, you and me, the people, we're the only ones that can make an improvement in our lives, and we're the only ones that can fix any problems that may occur in the world. Too many people have pawned off their, responsibility to government, if you will. The way that people think that they'll be bailed out if something bad happens. I mean, I remember talking to someone who had told me their friend, they said, well, what are you going to do if there's a major disaster? All the lights go out and there's a catastrophe. I said, well, I'll just wait. I'll lock my doors and wait for the fire department. Like, dude, how out of touch do you have to be? Look, we have enough social structure right now to function barely, without too much falling apart, as long as the goods are flowing, the services are flowing, and everything's moving. Any hiccup within that line causes a major ripple effect, but a long-term hiccup, and I'm not trying to be, disaster or doomer here, but this isn't about some big thing that might happen to the outer world that would affect us. I'm speaking also on the personal level. Anything can happen tomorrow. Anything can happen in your life. So if you have a good life, if you have a reasonably good life where you're not suffering, don't take that for granted. And it's so easy for us in the Western world, because we have access to media and a lot of time on our hands, that everybody can just surf the shorts and think they have the news. In other words, I get all my news from TikTok, right? I see all the clips of what's going on in the world. To somebody like me, that's just the most preposterous thing. But it doesn't mean that there's a better source, or it even matters. I often say, try to think of one news story in the last 20 years, if you're that old, that has actually benefited you to know. And I would guarantee it's probably something that was on the local news, or something about a recall on a product that you bought, or, uh, certain things real journalism, still exists, but it's very limited. But there was a time when we were told, you know, hey, look out for these corporations. They're not taking care of business. Now those very corporations run the media. And so people are just constantly fed this nonsense, and they choose to believe it. They choose to think that other people have their best interests at heart and not just making money. And that brings me back to the beginning of part one of this video, where I just despise money. It's not money itself. I'd love to have plenty. Believe me, at my age, almost 50, I know I would be very fiscally responsible with, millions of, a few $1 million even, just enough to, because I know what I want and I'm not out to impress anybody else. I would buy land. Land is everything right now. Even when I was younger, I remember seeing land in Oregon going for like $100 an acre, cheap desert land. That is long gone. It's thousands now, per acre. And this is part of what's frustrating when we talk about, for example, the good old days. Yeah, you could go way back to the good old days when land was just being given away to people who would improve it. And nowadays, you can't even buy like a square acre in the middle of the desert for less than $1,000. And your chances of buying a home as a young entrepreneur, even, who, unless you have a good business going, if you're working as an employee for someone, there's no way. There's just no way one person could buy a house. And you may say, well, it was a couple in the past. It took two people. But really, the husband worked and the wife didn't a lot of the time, and they could still afford a house. And this was long before my time. I mean, even when I was young, prices were going up ridiculous. And a whole new generation has been brought up to think this is normal. The cost of college, education in general, the cost of childcare, the cost of health insurance, the cost of food, all these things are driving people to madness. And that's why, I guess, as much as I just want to live my own life and be left alone, I have to participate in this society. You have to have online banking, right? Or, various programs that only use online services now. I mean, we have trapped ourselves in this electronic paradigm to where if anything goes wrong, with that system, people won't know what to do. I mean, how many people have landlines anymore? Phones. I years ago was into prepping, and I bought myself a couple of ham radios, and I've got various, spools of antenna wire that I could run up through my trees if I need to. There's a guy down the street that runs a ham radio, but he's got this, big wire between the two trees in his front yard. But I could do that in a pinch if I needed to communicate, to see what's going on. And it's only because I see how fragile this ecosystem we've created is. And I don't think people realize. But I don't know if that even matters or has any bearing or relevance to this video. But as you know, all of my videos are off the cuff. I don't have a list of notes or ideas. I'm just going by what crosses my feeble mind for what it might be worth. And I think that's, I guess, those discussions that we have just about life in general, to me, are the most important. Sometimes I think about writing out a long script, and I just wouldn't be able to adhere to it because it's not my style. But maybe one day I might do something like that. I was talking with my kids the other day, like, my son's like, you could do something with your YouTube channel. You could make money on it. It's like, I know, but it's not my goal or intention. Although I might use one of my secondary channels to maybe do some more essay style videos. But honestly, as the main theme here and the point of this video is that I haven't been very inspired. It's been, like I said, 9 days since I made a video. I used to do daily videos because I was, even when I was working full time, which I am again, is, I just had this fascination with sharing life. And I feel like my attitude has changed, and I don't want it to change for the negative. I'm trying to keep as positive as I can. I guess life's just thrown a lot of curveballs lately, so maybe that manifests in how I feel. And that's why, like I said, I haven't made a lot of videos and I don't want to talk a lot lately because I don't want to push that on other people. But I'm trying to keep a smile on my face as much as possible. I have a genuine happiness in life. Like, my smiles are real, but what I mean is, like, it's almost like laughing at the absurdity of the situations that we encounter. But I would like to, even though I don't have ads, I would like to thank my patrons, my Patreon patrons. I really appreciate all of you. Um, it means a lot. I know I try to uploading stuff to Patreon for my patrons, but nobody ever goes there. So if you're a patron, let me know what you think would be a good thing, to give back to the people who give to me. And, you know, I'm glad you're all out there. Thanks for listening. If you have any video topic ideas, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm always open to a discussion about certain things that may interest other people that don't occur to me. And I guess I better get off, get ready, go to work. That didn't sound right. Get off, get ready, go to work. No, get ready to get out of here and go off to work. How about that? That's better. Anyway, peace and love. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next time.